And dangerous when you try to jump and lynch on us. We'll get the folding chairs and unleash the greatest of our ancestors' wildest dreams. Oh man, good morning. It's alright, girl. We're kind of dangerous when you try to jump and lynch on us. We're kind of dangerous, irreplaceable, just like the ancestors' wildest dreams. Wild. Sweetheart, I got a feeling about today. We've had a revolutionary weekend. That means it's time for a revolutionary show. Let's go ahead and get it started. Good morning, and good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Wake It Bake with BeMo. Shababa. This is your chance to catch up on the new blueprints of what's going on in blackness, for blackness, through blackness, to blackness, why blackness, and how blackness, because you are black, or maybe you're not black and you just want to know what's going on. I want to say good morning to all the good folks over on YouTube. Good morning to my people. If you're on Instagram, we only going to stay on here. Oh, what up, Ken? We only going to stay on here for about 15, 20 minutes, and we're going to move over to the YouTube site. We got a lot of sources that we want to show you this morning, so if you're interested in seeing the whole show, which is the screen behind me, the nice camera, our different sources got coming up, definitely go check that out. And before we do anything, before we do all things, I want to say good morning to the diamond-encrusted stockings of my life.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I want to say good morning to the shelter in place, to my FedEx Stadium. Good morning to the lady of the house. Good morning, sweetheart.
Ooh, the war flashbacks.
The lady of the house did go to night 2 Beyonce. They said that night 2 Beyonce in DC was for the real niggas. Mm-hmm. And so therefore I am living with the realest nigga of them all. Good morning to y'all. Good morning to the good folks on Instagram. Good morning, Jordan. How you feeling this morning? Sweetheart. Oh, before I even get started, we want to give a shout out to the good people at the Washington Informant Bridge, WIBridgeDC.com, or at WIBridgeDC on all social media sites. On Thursday last week, we put out a new, sweetheart, can you pass me this? It's a bridge over there. It's folded up. We Claudia Jordan just put out is this a new one? Yeah. No, not this one. It should be over on the where I put my stuff down. Claudia put out a new editor-in-chief special curated version of the bridge. I want y'all to go check that out. It is an ode to the summer, because they say the summertime is over. Is it over?
That's what people have been saying, but it's not over till mid-September.
You know why they saying that? Because they still stuck in that school system. That's all it is.
Right.
Prisoners to the public school system.
Okay.
Y'all niggas gotta break free.
Right.
Okay, there's some of that over to September 21st.
Okay.
And I know your ass ain't going to class.
Right.
So what's up?
Right.
Talking about the summer over. Shut up. We got a new issue of the bridge. Make sure y'all go check that out. Ode to Summer. One of my favorite photos that I've seen is actually in the back of this joint. Make sure y'all go check that out. WIBridgeDC.com or I didn't even show the lady of the house. WIBridgeDC.com or at WIBridgeDC on all social media platforms. We want to appreciate the good folks of the bridge for helping us out. Also, make sure y'all go subscribe to the new Blueprint newsletter. We just put out a new newsletter now. Sweetheart, when we put out the newsletter, I like to make a little social media assets so that people can know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so you've been watching. I've been trying to create I have a very specific aesthetic that I have in my mind that I've been trying to figure out on Photoshop Beta, Illustrator. I done tried a couple of apps. I am, as I told Lydia last night, I am about 10 seconds away from just getting some carbon paper and doing that shit by hand. Okay? All right? I'm about over this technology shit. But anyway, make sure y'all go check out the new Blueprints newsletter at BeMoBrown.substack.com so y'all can get updated on that. We just put up a newsletter a couple of days ago about a recap from our parlor, why we parlor, why it's important. Definitely want y'all to check that out. Ken, whenever you ready, man, come on out to the parlor, because I think the one thing I loved about the parlor is that we had very engaging conversations, but it didn't get spicy enough until the end. So I definitely want more spicy individuals to come out. Shout out to Buck. Shout out to Kenjamin that's in my DMs all the time. We will definitely get that popping. What happened to Marcus? Okay. What happened to Marcus? Okay. We need to get Marcus back on here. We need my conservative brothers and sisters to come bring us whatever the fuck they be thinking about. So we appreciate them. Make sure you go check that out. This morning, we have a very interesting show for you this morning. We have 3 topics. We'll see if we'll get to all 3 topics. Of course, we're going to talk about the soft launch of slavery, which we've been pushing back for a couple of weeks. That's happening in Florida. We're going to do a comparative analysis of that. We also want to talk about, not Montgomery. What's the other thing we want to talk about, sweetheart? We also want to talk about the settlement from the Henrietta Lacks case, from the potential Malcolm X case. We want to talk about all of those things. But first, we got to talk about what's possibly the first Paul Robeson Negro of the Week nominee. We have to talk about what happened in Montgomery, Alabama. Mm-hmm. Now, as we did with the Will Smith slap, I'm not going to show you the video because I feel like it's ingrained in your brain already. And to the point of Marlon Wayans and the niggas who's always getting eat up on the internet, I don't think the point of why niggas are celebrating this moment in Montgomery is centered on violence. Right. I think there has been a shift or a reminder in the culture. So let's walk through that again to my people. What's up, Chris? Good morning, man. I'm talking, getting out. I wonder if I will. So again, to my people on Instagram, if you're on the gram, come on over to YouTube. We got a couple of sources that we want to show you. Let's see here. Let's start. We put up the artwork, sweetheart, because I just want to show some of the artwork that happened over in Montgomery. If you aren't aware, I'll give you a brief recap. In Montgomery, Alabama, which is a former slave port, there was a black man who was trying to do his job. He was security for this harbor. Some white folks had illegally parked their boat in the wrong spot of the harbor. Why this was important is because there was a bigger boat with more people who were doing a little tour of the little area that was coming to park the boat. A security man came through and let the white people know they can't park their boat there. For some reason, the Tiki Torch whites decided to Tiki Torch, and they responded in violence. Mm-hmm. Now, here to me is what's the most important part of the whole Montgomery situation. And I know we on Twitter making jokes. I know it's funny. I know these are reparations in the form of hands. I put up some of these artistic representations to talk about Black Woman, to talk about what they call him, Michael B. Phelps.
I love the flag with the fist.
The flag with the fist, and my people are singing, and my people are swimming. I know we are a funny people, but to me, the question that we ask ourselves often when it comes to the Africana studies thought framework, question number 2: who are we to each other? Mm-hmm. This entire season of Wake and Bake with BeMo has been dedicated to eradicating what we think about when it comes to race. Mm-hmm. We put out the white N-word, which is a fancy way to get white people to realize that they're not actually white, like we not actually black. Yeah, we come from black heritage. We are of black culture, but like the skin tone, the social cast of black, that is not us. Right. We are a history of greatness or lack thereof. We are a history of ass whoopings or lack thereof, but we are not a history of the pejorative negative, right? That's what I mean by we are not this thing that they call black. We are black, but we are not this thing that they categorize so they can siphon from us.
Right.
Right? So then we ask the question, if that part of the race is not real, who are we to each other? If the term black is an umbrella term that they threw all of us in there so they could all subjugate us to violence, subjugate us to disenfranchisement, subjugate us to cultural marginalization. If they created this umbrella term called black so they could subject us to a certain type of treatment, when we look at Africana studies, when we look at how we empower ourselves, the second question of who are we to each other can be answered on the Montgomery Bay. Mm-hmm. Some of them brothers knew each other. Yeah. But some of them brothers did not.
Right. Right.
There are a lot of favorite parts of the video for some people. Some people, it's a young man swimming across that channel, delivering a rock bottom. For some people, it's the white lady getting her head caved in by that plastic chair. For some people, it's the Avengers moments when all the brothers came off the boat to protect their security brother. But you know what my favorite moment is? After my man threw up the hat, you can see in the background, there's a black man who's at the bar. Yeah. There's a black man who's at the bar with his back to the river. He hears the ancestors' whistles. Hoo-dee-hoo! Turns around and you can see him slowly proceed until they start jumping him and he turns into a full sprint.
Yeah.
Because who are we to each other?
Right.
We are subjects for protection. Mm-hmm. People getting wrapped up in the violence. To me, it's the violence is cool because I'm with the Frantz Fanon school of thought. In order to decolonize, there must be violence. I understand that. But the other part about violence, especially when it comes to black men, I'm putting my body on the line.
Right.
We can talk. BeMo gonna talk all day on the internet. We got visionaries in the street. We got dreamers and weavers. We got all these people playing different roles in the revolution. But who is throwing hands? Second thing about Montgomery, as we're on this art slide. So I was thinking about not covering this Montgomery moment this morning because I felt like a lot of people have already covered it. They've already said all the funny things. They've already said all the interesting things. I don't know if I had much to add to the conversation about the Montgomery sweet tea party, if you will. That's what they call it.
I think they call it the Alabama Sweet Tea Party.
The Alabama Sweet Tea Party, yeah. Right? But I was just ruminating in my mind, and you know that T-shirt that says "I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams."
Yeah.
There is a dichotomy. There is a split among people who say that statement is offensive towards our ancestors, and there are some people who say that it's very reverent towards our ancestors. But I for a moment, I think this comes from a Richard Wright book. If I'm not mistaken, I think this comes from Black Boy. Okay. There is I don't have to go there. My grandfather, I say this all the time. This is one of my funniest jokes. My grandfather's been to all 7 continents. My grandfather turned 90 at the end of July. Mm-hmm. He's been to all 7 continents. He's visited all countries. He's been ambassadors. He's gone to dinner with dignitaries. He's shaking hands with czars. You know what I mean? This is international black man. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Shaft, if you will. Was Shaft international? Yeah. There was Shaft in Africa. My grandfather says there are 2 cities that he'll never return to in the whole world. Yeah. Munich, Germany. Mm-hmm. Newport News, Virginia. Munich, Germany, because they wild racists, and Newport News, Virginia, because that's where they lynched niggas. Mm-hmm. I'm not going back. This man is 90 years old. It's 2023. They lynched niggas in Newport News, Virginia. Sweetheart, as I'm watching this video and I'm ruminating about our role, our ancestors, I think about a moment in a Richard Wright book where Richard Wright's friend gets lynched, and he can do nothing but stand paralyzed in the window. Because if he speaks up, he'll be right next to his friend. If he even shows his face, the lynch mob will get excited. Let's lynch another nigga. And at that time, the only justice was lynch mob justice. So my man Richard Wright would have been lynched next to his friend, and they would have called that justice. How many of our ancestors had to be frozen in fear as they watched their racial members, their community members, their family members be attacked?
Right.
And I would love to say that just exists in 1905. But like, we all watched George Floyd die.
Right.
Paralyzed. There were people who were recording George Floyd die.
Right.
Paralyzed. And I know a lot of people saying, why didn't you do something? But when the law is choking you out, when the assumed superior is choking your life out in a game, what are you supposed to do? Be the next nigga lynched? So when I seen that young man swim across that channel, oh Lord, I almost got tears in my eye right now. There has been a reset.
Yeah.
We are not afraid. And one of the reasons I feel like we're not afraid, I would love to say that we have a revolutionary mindset, but they killed all the revolutionaries. I would love to say that we have become bolder in time, but we have become bitch made in time. I'm just being honest with you, sweetheart. You know what I think the real tool of justice here is?
What's that?
Hit the next slide. Everybody is looking at the chair. Man's had a chair and was swinging that joint like he was Thor. I think it's number 2.
That's number 2.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
You had to show the chair first. Though. Yeah, spoiled it for me. That's all right, though. That was the first one?
This is the first one, yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the chair, but I think the real heroic tool in this moment is the cell phone. In 19 when Richard Wright was watching his friend be lynched, he could have went to a judge and said there could have been murder, but he wouldn't have had no proof.
Yeah.
And then he'd have been called for falsely accusing white folks and probably been murdered himself. In 2023, this is not the case.
No.
In 1973, this same situation in Montgomery probably happened. Because I don't know if y'all know. Niggas from Montgomery whoop ass. I don't know if y'all knew that. This ain't Birmingham. This ain't Selma. Okay, we're not walking across the bridge peacefully around here. We whoop ass in Montgomery. Anyway. Is Montgomery on the other side of Biloxi? No. Don't let me get to talking. The cell phone. The reason why I feel like this is it's so exciting is that in an attempt to provide entertainment for some folks, in an attempt to provide a way to express yourself to the world, to have a camera in your pocket, some folks created the camera phone, but this black man created the cell phone. And funny enough, accidentally.
Wow.
Henry T. Sampson, sweetheart, is the first black man with a PhD in nuclear engineering. And while he was trying to find a way to protect his body from nuclear waves, he found that you can communicate through gamma waves. And so he made a patent for that cell phone. Wow. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Also
talented 90s shit. I was at the job, but then I was doing something and I realized I need to be protected from all these nuclear waves. Oh, I created the cell phone. Whoops, my bad. The cell phone to me is a very indicative part because when we look at all of these moments of justice, all of these moments that they could be considered subjective truths from the lower pejorative social caste can now be recorded, uploaded, live streamed, dissected, and supported. The most beautiful part about this video, there is a woman, the first video that I saw, there is a woman who recorded the whole thing from the attempting parking boat in Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
We have a full documentation of what's going on. It's not legend. It's
Right.
not that one time that you hear about it in Montgomery. It wasn't reported by the local news. It wasn't filtered by national news. Direct source from a black woman about the happenings that's going on in the street.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is the most powerful part. Yeah, we can talk about the chair. The chair is cool. But how we protect ourselves next to who are we to each other, these are the things that I'm taking away from the Montgomery the Synchro de Negro. Is that what I just saw on the screen a second ago? This is the thing I'm taking away from Synchro de Negro, is that we do have the energy to protect ourselves. You see where I'm going, sweetheart?
Mm-hmm.
We have the tools to protect ourselves. But what Lauryn Hill say? Do we wanna? What's the third slide? I forgot what it's about.
Oh, you don't say that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I kind of jumped to it a second ago. But the as I'm watching this, I'm also seeing that everybody has a role in the revolution.
Yeah.
Everybody has a role in this social justice situation. So if you feel bad, excuse me, my bad. If you feel bad that you can't get your hands on white folks, you know what I mean? I saw a Parrish tweet the other day. I want to go sit out by the dock of the bay and wait for some hands to come catch me. I understand. And I saw another video saying that we should go on tour whooping ass. Some of the things are right-minded, but you know, they just funny. Sweetheart, can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Can you read these roles in the revolution?
Okay, wait. How do I make it? Browse or no? I don't know. Okay.
You just double click it.
Okay. Or not. In the middle it says equity, liberation, justice, and solidarity.
That's right. So that is the goal, right? Mm-hmm. How do we get there? What are the roles that lead to that goal?
We have experimenters, weavers, frontline responders, visionaries, builders, caregivers, disruptors, healers, storytellers, and guides.
So amongst this situation, I believe, sweetheart, you let me know if I'm wrong. I think on the dock of the bay, we had our first line responders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had the nigger Coast Guard, or the nigger Navy, as Yahoo said that one time. Remember they said the nigger Navy? That
yeah,
was
right.
We got the nigger Navy, or the Black Coast Guard. And then we also have our disruptors in there. Also in there, we have our storytellers, right? That's the young lady with the phone who's giving us the information. We have our, after the fact, we have our healers. We have people who have donated to the bail fund, who are looking for these individuals on social media to make sure they are safe and they have the provided spaces they need to continue to be revolutionary acting.
Did you say disruptors?
Yeah, I just say disruptors are my people on the boat.
And you also have experimenters, mans with the chair. What's his name? Percy Girl?
That's funny, sweetheart. You called him a what? Experimenter?
Yeah, experimenter.
So, sweetheart, we have recapped what happened. But you know I got to ask a pivotal question.
What's up?
What's it going to take for us to attack respectability politics in the same way? What's it going to take for us to attack capitalism in the same way? What's it going to take for us to attack excellence in the same way? The thing that also excites me is that the physical usually comes first. You touch it and then you can change.
Yeah.
Now we have touched the hem of colonial or decolonizational violence. Now what?
The thing about all of, those aspects is that we as a community are not all on the same side. So it'll be a little bit more difficult to attack capitalism and what were the other things you said?
Do you think all them people on the boat and watching that fight and throwing hands would agree on everything that they have agree on all parts of the ideology of other people?
Not everybody that was there, but definitely everybody who was involved.
You think they all had the same ideology?
Well, not the same ideology, but there was camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
There was solidarity
You
in
can take
that
the
moment.
sentence down, sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
There was solidarity. So when we went to Maurice's art talk on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and Maurice was mentioning that there needs to be a code for blackness, in which Buck was saying once we start establishing a code and saying who is and who ain't, it's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
We are denying people's identities based on our perceptions or our code of such. And in that conversation, I think me and Maurice were both saying that the code is not silly shit like, do you know all 5 members of the Jackson 5? That's not the code.
Right.
That's not the ideology. The ideology, though, I think is expressed in the unity that we saw in Montgomery. Who are we to each other? We are able to protect each other even if we don't agree or even know what the other person's ideology is.
Mm-hmm.
So, sweetheart, are you saying that in order for us to tear down the ideology of capitalism, we need to be all aligned that we are all anti-capitalist?
Because I feel like, okay, in this situation specifically, you see how everybody's coming for Marlon Wayans.
No, talk to me about it, because I actually didn't see it. I heard it from you, but talk to me about it.
Well,
one of the show's greatest. But anyway, come on, Marlon.
I was so hurt. I think he only put a portion of the clip, but it was like the part where the black people came in, not showing that the white people were the aggressors initially.
Yeah.
And then it was basically, I don't know if it was necessarily respectability politics, but he was saying something along the lines of, we shouldn't be doing this, or that whole thing. And of course, everybody had to eat him up.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen people who are trying to dissent against what happened in Montgomery,
Yeah.
which I think there is room for dissension, especially if you're one of those people who think that nonviolence is about not being violent at all. Let me tell you something. I don't know if people know this, but like when Martin Luther King was doing those nonviolent marches, there was niggas in bushes with guns.
Yeah. Right.
Like, this is a tactic for visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas are already visible. See, I wrote that in the new Blueprint newsletter as well. My uncle told me a long time ago, people in my generation only do revolutionary actions to be visible.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing revolutionary actions in quiet or with the outcome of actually having a solution for whatever the problem is. I'm struggling with this blunt this morning. My goodness. I don't even know where I was going there. But why was I going there, sweetheart?
Because you said Martin Luther King had people in bushes with
guns. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So the tactic was so that we could be visible in the media, so we could so white people could see other white people beating up black folks. Mm-hmm. But we've seen that already.
Right.
So, I don't know. We got any comments, sweetheart? Have I said everything I need to say?
I think so.
I feel like I done lost my thoughts somewhere. Oh, when are we going to take this same energy and apply it to more difficult opponents? Because the Tiki Torch Whites, those are easy opponents. You know what I mean? That's easy. When are we going to apply it to something more difficult, like race itself?
Yeah.
Anyway, sweetheart, that's all I got. You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm still kind of stuck on that because we can't even. I mean, yeah, everybody doesn't have to agree, but it helps if we have strength in numbers, So.
We got any comments?
No.
We have no comments?
No.
Not even on YouTube?
No.
Oh, I'm looking at them. They're coming up on the screen.
What? They're not coming up here.
Okay. Going over to YouTube.
Okay.
Because we got some comments. I think I seen Natalie just a second ago say there's no room for dissension. I think she said that a second ago. I think I seen Shot Smith was up there a couple of seconds ago. I can't, I got the bad eye. I can't really read that far. The Good Vibe Drive says hell of a start to Black August. Yeah, damn right, a hell of a start to Black August. If people don't know who Black August are, you know what I'm saying? That's a damn shame. Oh, Lauren, good morning. What's up, hustler? Good morning.
Good morning. Oh,
Kimani Bolden, good morning. Welcome. Jiggy, hey, man. What's up, brother?
Okay, we got some comments on YouTube.
You got some comments? Get the comments while I continue to roll this struggle blunt we got going on.
Okay, Good Vibe Tribe says, listen, I knew I needed to be in the house this morning after. They said, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Natalie said, good morning. Rochelle said, good morning. Hey, good
I was
morning.
very close to not talking about it, though, because I didn't feel like I could add to the conversation, but there is a part of this conversation I feel like needs to be talked on, and that is roles in the revolution. What are we supposed to do? And also, when are we going to apply this to something more difficult? Now, look, I said that I just said it, but that don't mean that I'm not proud. This is Wake Up with BeMo. I'm constantly looking for the new blueprint. So the blueprint is the new blueprint after we seen Cinco de Negro or the Alabama Sweet Tea party. If the new blueprint is, we have no problem seeing our brothers in trouble and we can run to help when the signal has been thrown, what other signal can we throw? Mm-hmm. What other thing do we need help with? And don't tell me, now I'm going to say something a little pejorative here. Don't tell me the niggas in Alabama got more heart, more gumption, more strategy than the niggas not in Alabama. Alabama technically is the 50th smartest state. You heard what I said, sweetheart? Technically, Alabama is the 50th smartest state.
Well, there's actually a little qualifier to that.
What's that?
It has to do with illiteracy between black and white people. And I don't know if this is still the case, but white people in southern states are more illiterate than black people. And also I think they said black people in southern states are more illiterate than white people in northern states, but that was like in the 50s or so. What's up?
Wait, what are you saying?
Don't worry about it.
Are you saying that the white people are dumber in Alabama than the black people?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that, actually. Wow. Okay.
We got some more comments, though.
What we got?
Good Vibe Tribe says, we must love each other and protect each other.
Of course.
Said, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, Shy?
Yeah, they're saying Cinco de Negro is excellent. Good Vibe Tribe says, God has troubled the water.
That's
Shy
true.
Smith said they were all on one accord.
This is true.
Natalie said there's no room for dissension. Good Vibe Tribe said, hello, let's start to Black August. And then Rochelle said, when are we going to apply it to more difficult issues? Can we just get through this easier one yet? Damn, LOL.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yes, we can. But also as our roles in the revolutionary goes, we can also be experimenters from a distance. We could be weavers, we could be strategists, we could be a whole bunch of things while we watch this happen and we develop more blueprints and lessons from the situation. But you're right, though. You're right, Rochelle. I'm happy. Everybody throw them hands. I'm happy. I'm satisfied.
And Good Vibe Tribe says, I think you're right, BeMo. We have to build power and institutions that can protect us against these invisible acts of violence. Right.
We'll get there, though.
Yeah.
We'll get there, though. And maybe the literal is the first step to the metaphorical. Mm-hmm. All right? If, you know what? If you're in the chat now, if you're fucking with the chat now, if you're on Instagram, if you're on social, if you're on Twitter, or if you're on Facebook, you know what I need you to do? As we go into our break, I need you to tell me your favorite part of the Montgomery Brawl. I need you to tell me what your favorite moment is in detail. I need to know if it's the young man swimming across the water. Is it the black women on the boat with the fire commentary? I mean, excellent commentary. He's swimming his ass over there to help that boy. I need you to tell me what your favorite part of the video is. We're gonna be right back with more. I see this hairline though. What's up? Let me tell y'all something. As I'm looking at my hairline. Okay, I'm 34. Okay, it's intact. All right. Go look at some of your other faves. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying. Been pushed back. Anyway, we'll be right back with more. Wake and bake with BeMo. Subtle hairline flex because my jeans is good, although I'm losing hair in the back. Yeah. Good folks over on Instagram. This is where
Baby, can we? Oh, baby, please. Down on my knees, but I ain't begging, baby. I'm just
We back.
All right, y'all. We are back with more Hawaii make we be more. We're trying to beat the construction man. Yeah.
We do have a few comments actually.
What we got?
Natalie said, I don't know if you all saw this, but some ladies were in that boardwalk 2 hours prior to the brawl paying respects to the ancestors. The
Ancestors jumped about that water.
Right. And then Good Vibe Tribe says, it's the man who was fading in the water. Close second is the commentary of the squabble. Bink, bink, bink up.
Bink, bink, bink up.
And then Natalie said, every angle. Definitely Scuba Gooding Jr.
Scuba Gooding, that's what niggas, man. I love us for real.
Right. And Mlit said, everyone played their part. Maybe the revolution isn't nationwide, but starts in smaller communities. Right.
Maybe. We talked about it on the last Tuesday. We talked about how actually the smaller the goal, not smaller, but we do more damage in nuanced communities. We this is gonna be random, but I'm as I'm lighting the blunt, I'm trying to manifest a late night show and a radio show. Although my homeboy just told me niggas on the radio don't get paid for real. Damn. Damn. And let me light this blunt as I'm manifesting this late night show and this radio show and more opportunities. I was so in researching Black late nights, which is going to sound so random in compared to what's going on with Montgomery, but I think y'all are already used to my random sequiturs. In researching Black late night television shows, I think there's only been 7 or 11 Black late night hosts in television history. In researching them, there is one common mistake amongst all of them. Mm-hmm. There is a reason why none of these Black late night shows are still here. The same reason why I feel like The Gathering Spot probably won't be here for much longer. The same reason why I feel like Spill's not going to be around for much longer. In which we talked about this before, but like these Black late night shows, they were too focused on trying to get a larger audience instead of just capturing the people that they knew they could capture.
Right.
And I think about that in terms of revolutionary acts as well. Like these new blueprints that we're trying to put out, these new tactics and strategies of how we can operationalize Blackness and how we can be liberated from oppression and marginalization, they don't have to be big. Mm-hmm. They don't have to be total fixes. As my uncle says, they don't have to be the most visible, biggest thing. We have been seduced to a certain degree, especially our generation. We have been seduced to think that revolutionary actions only happen on revolutionary acts, which is like big speeches and boycotts and all that shit, right? Because that's all they showed us. I asked the lady at the house Sunday, do you think Malcolm X worked every day?
Definitely not.
Like, I love y'all. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things. Man, there's some days I don't want to talk to y'all though. So I imagine like if Malcolm X is a revolutionary, he wanted the revolution every day?
No.
Can't be.
Right.
When did he take Betty out?
Exactly. He had to go grocery shopping, get his suits.
Right.
Write some speeches, Talk
Malcolm,
to the community
he had to
members.
write the speeches.
Right. He got to organize the community. Right. It's not revolution every day.
It's not revolution every day. We don't have every moment doesn't have to be bullets versus the ballot. Every day is not I have a dream or the promised land is coming around the corner. Like every Sunday isn't the dynamic speech. Every Sunday Reverend Johnson didn't hoop and holler. That was always interesting. Some Sundays he'd be like, I'm not gonna holler today. But I got y'all next Sunday.
There'll even be sometimes when did your pastor ever say, I'm not gonna hold y'all long?
Yep.
And it'll be shorter.
It'll be a good short one. I'm not gonna hold y'all long. Let me get up out of here. The Lord told me you need 10 minutes.
The game coming on.
The game coming on. So yeah, when I think about these revolutionary acts, they don't have to be big. They can be in a small town, which is hilarious because them white folks got that song, Try That in a Small Town, which is kind of like, okay.
But I'm also, part of me is also thinking about like, I guess in an extreme sense, this could be the beginning of like the race war that they've been talking about. And also, what is it? The you know, in American history, the shot heard around the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Those the start of the revolution. Like this could be our revolutionary moment. Like this is the beginning. But
You think white people want to fight us?
I don't necessarily think so. I'd say more so eradicate. But if they had, I don't think they would want to fight. If they had to.
I think they too bitch made to fight.
Right. Exactly.
To fight?
Right. Nah, they don't want to fight.
That's another part of my favorite. One of my favorite parts of the videos. The two white people was trying to walk with it. It was like, and they still got their ass whooped.
Right.
No, it's too late. All right, we want to. We got any comments before we move on? Because I know this is a good subject. We're gonna move on to a brighter subject: slavery.
Slappy.
Slap.
Rochelle said the subtle few seconds when swimming dude got out the water and took a moment to assess where he was going to jump in. The presence of mind that took after swimming like that is astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And rock bottom in somebody. It was beautiful.
And it's not like he stopped to take a breath. Like he immediately got out and went to work.
Yeah, the boy got it.
Mm-hmm. Lauren said, "My favorite part is when that young man jumped off a moving boat and used pure hatred because I'm an Olympic swimmer, then became a superhero and jumped out of the water."
Yes, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And Natalie said, "I needed this laugh. I was talking about Black August all weekend. It's in the atmosphere."
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Revolutionary, baby.
Right.
Coming to fight. All right, sweetheart, we got to talk about it. So a couple weeks ago, we all saw the headline.
Mm-hmm.
The headline that in Florida, Governor DeSantis has approved a curriculum in which one of those standards in the curriculum basically states that slavery could be looked at as a vocational school. Slave you, if you will. Slave tech, excuse me. And there are a few things that are bothering me. I think we're kind of. I've been trying to ignore Florida, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
You from there, but both of us have our high school degrees from Florida.
Yeah.
I remember when I was graduating high school, they had a thing called y'all have Bright Futures?
Yeah.
They had a thing called Bright Futures where if you got your IB diploma or if you had a certain GB or GPA or if you had a certain amount of AP credits, the state of Florida would pay for you to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't even a complicated thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah,
The
it was a
guidance
scholarship.
counselors,
Yeah.
it's an automatic scholarship that you can go to any state school
Yeah.
for free.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got my full scholarship to any state school and went to Howard. And I appreciate, thank you, Renelle. I appreciate the options. But some of my friends took, which was probably the better financial option, took the full scholarship and went to their state schools. And I've been trying to ignore Florida because what's happening in Florida is just making me so anxious and sad, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we reported it. I think I was either with Superman at the time or it might have been season 3, but I think we reported how the governor was aiming to get rid of DEI programs, which had an odd effect on if D9s could be on state school campuses in Florida, which is ridiculous. Because
yeah.
What? Like, how could a governor decide if the alpha's going to be on campus?
Right.
It's one thing if they hazing. It's another thing to say the governor said we can't be on campus, which
Right.
is ridiculous, right? And then we think about how the alphas and these other black specific programs are actually so pivotal to the black experience that like systematically eradicating them is a way of systematically trying to eradicate black culture.
Exactly.
So I've been trying to ignore that. But what has happened is this nigga won't stop.
Right.
This nigga, Ron DeSantis, will not stop. There is, I think a black man slept with his wife or something, because there is an incessant need for him to continually attack the things that bring pride to black folks, the things that help us understand who we are, why we are, and how we can still overcome whatever bullshit that America is putting us through.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest of which is this slave So, in these situations, I usually wait for someone smarter than me to talk. Because I used to be a teacher, and I read curriculums back in the day, and I used to read standards, especially in New Orleans. They were just kind of like loosey-goosey. But I wanted somebody else to read through the situation again, somebody smarter, also somebody else. Because this shit is sad. So, two people. Nicole Hannah-Jones. Nicole Hannah-Jones did a wonderful tweet thread, X thread, whatever the fuck it is, regarding, she compared how Florida schools are going to teach slavery and how Florida schools are going to teach the Holocaust.
Oh.
And then Michael Harriot, who has a wonderful new podcast that I can't pronounce at the moment. He says it all the time. But Michael Harriot of the Root, or is he a degree of? Oh my God.
Damn.
Oh my God. Michael Harriot, he wrote some great things, including like his recap of the Black Brain Trust, which I really appreciated. He also wrote a recap of this Florida curriculum. So if you want to read a truncated version of why these white folks are tripping, we got that. But you're on Wake and Bake with BeMo, so I'm going to give it to you right now. Degree out, for sure. You're on the Wake and Bakes. We're going to talk about it right now. All right, so I have notes, sweetheart. I know that's rare, but I got them. If you could do me a favor, pull up the 1619, well, I forgot what I called it, but slavery.
Florida Review?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go through a couple of things. I'm just going to read these. I wanted you to put it up so it looks like I'm reading the thing off the screen. All right, here we go. Okay. Florida curriculum denotes the other ways slavery has happened in the world with emphasis on Africa and Asia prior to 1619. In the Florida curriculum, the Holocaust stands on its own, and it only asks for the roots of anti-Semitism. That's right, you heard me. That's right. You can't read that. That's okay. But I just want to put it there to make it look like I'm reading something. You feel what I'm saying? But it is. These are the Florida standards, by the way, though. So in the first comparison, slavery in Florida's curriculum standards, they asked the students to define how it exists prior to 1619, including in Africa and Asia.
Yeah.
For the Holocaust, they only ask you for the roots of anti-Semitism. They don't ask you for the roots of hatred. They don't ask you for the roots of how the Jewish folks were eradicated in other times. When it comes to the Holocaust, we're talking about anti-Semitism.
Wow.
In the Holocaust section, there is no comparison and cataloging of other genocides committed by and against other groups. The Holocaust stands on its own, as it should. In fact, the only reference to pastimes and other people is to describe the roots of anti-Semitism, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I'm showing you right now, clarification 1 versus clarification 4 on the uses of racism in the standards. U.S. racism is not treated as systemic and apparently abridging on individual freedoms, even though the racism was codified to derive rights, liberties, life, due process, access to public goods, access to ballots from an entire race. Meaning to say that in the Florida standards, it says that there is no such thing as systemic racism.
Right.
All racism is rooted from depriving people of individual freedoms.
That's crazy.
And then they put as examples the Civil Rights Act, the Niagara Movement. They say that depriving black folks of rights is depriving people of individual freedoms. There is no system of racism.
Right.
Let's keep going. Of course, we get to the part where it says slavery was a trade school. Now, mind you, the Holocaust had labor and concentration camps, but no skills were learned. They don't talk about that in the standards, right?
Yeah.
You can learn to be a blacksmith as a slave, but whatever skills you learn in the concentration camps was trauma.
Right. Wow.
Now, I'm not saying the Holocaust is wrong. I'm not saying what they're teaching about the Holocaust is wrong. I'm just saying, look at the difference.
Right.
And then I had a thought. As I was reading these standards, I was thinking like, yo, before 1619, the white folks on this side of the planet were struggling to stay alive. They were bartering with indigenous folks for corn and food. They were dying by starvation because they could not cultivate crops. And you think in 1619 they just magically understood how to cultivate crops?
Right.
No, nigga, the people they stole for the labor already had the skill. Who's teaching who?
Right.
Slave tech my ass. Anyway, let's keep going. The Holocaust has a named perpetrator. They say that the perpetrator are the anti-Semites of Germans, but they do not mention the good Germans who might have helped out some of the Jewish folks. Slavery, in the teaching of Florida, only has good Americans fighting some faceless, nameless enemy from 1776 to 1865. Let's keep it going. The Florida system teaches the headright system, insinuating that Anthony Johnson, a freeman in the 17th century, started chattel slavery. They're teaching in the Florida standards a theory that a black man started chattel slavery. That is categorically false. And they are leaning, you know that old adage that white people are like, oh, black people own slaves too?
Yeah.
You know why black folks own slaves, right? Because if I ran from freedom, I'm gonna buy my mama. That's why we own slaves, dumbass.
Right.
What? I'm going to get my wife. Oh, you're just not gonna let her go? Okay, here's 20 grand or whatever the fuck it is for my wife. What?
Right.
Big stupid. But they're not teaching that in the school. They teaching the headright system, which insinuates that Anthony Johnson, a freeman of the 17th century, started chattel slavery. It was his idea.
Wow.
Keep it going. In addressing the rampant racial terrorism that black Americans experiences in the forms of systemic lynchings and massacre, the section in the Florida curriculum clarifies teachers must also address acts of violence by individual African Americans. No such qualification in the Holocaust section, which means when we talk about violence to black folks, they also have to talk about black on black crime. It's in the curriculum. It's in the curriculum. When we talk about violence happening to black folks, we must also teach that black folks harm black folks. Wow. That is not in the Holocaust section. It never says we're talking about Jewish on Jewish crime.
Because there were definitely Jewish people calling
snaking them out.
Right.
Snaking them. They got a whole name for them. Mm-hmm. That's all right though. I got an attitude.
That's crazy.
In fact, in the Holocaust section, students are expected to think about the experiences of survivors and describe the psychological and physical struggles of survivors. They are not asked to contemplate black suffering at all. Never a question. It is a direct question in the clarifications. Think about how the Jewish people recovered from the Holocaust. Never asked to think about black suffering. Florida students are tasked with learning about the efforts to hold Nazi perpetrators accountable, including government officials, but there is no such expectation around slavery and the living victims and perpetrators of the 100-year period of U.S. apartheid. Florida students are tasked with learning about the efforts to hold Nazi perpetrators, I just said that, right? So they are tasked to figure out how they hold the people who started the Holocaust, who perpetrated the Holocaust responsible. They are not asked to figure out why in this 100-year apartheid between 1865 and 1965, why we're not asking those people to be held accountable.
Wow.
This is the law, sweetheart.
I'm really in disbelief right now.
This is the law, sweetheart. And so it is easy for us to say that is categorically, all these things are categorically false. They are heinous. This is not to compare to say that they are teaching the Holocaust wrong, because I feel like a white man would hear this and be like, oh, a black man says they should be doing less for the Holocaust. No, bitch. Mm-hmm. We should be doing more to talk about the history of black folks in this country. Exactly. This is after they have banned the new AP Black History. They actually just banned AP Psychology because it teaches about transgenderism as a psychological well, they just talk about transgenderism in AP psychology. So now
wow.
they don't want to talk about it in the situation.
Wow.
So why would the state of Florida be interested in perpetuating these ideas amongst its black youth? I only have, well, there are two answers. The first answer is the whole reason why Ron DeSantis is doing this is because I think he feels bad for being white. And instead of attacking whiteness, he's attacking blackness, which is what white people do. I'm not surprised.
It doesn't even make sense.
I'm not surprised.
It never makes sense.
I think he has been made to feel bad that he is of the perpetrating class of this country. You know what somebody did? Somebody called Ron DeSantis white, didn't they? Didn't they? They called him white. They called him bland. They called him useless. They called him inept. They called him coercive. And said that you are not additive to this country with your lack of culture self. And he said, you know what? You're right. Let's strip all the culture out.
I just need to lean into that shit. What the fuck?
I don't understand. No, so I'm sorry. I do understand. Let me stop saying that. I do understand. You can take the law down, sweetheart. I do understand. Someone called Ron DeSantis white, and in response, he is trying to prove it.
Instead of proving the person wrong,
Instead of listening to hip hop, instead of being like, "Damn, the baby is kind of good,"
right?
Instead of him being like, "Man,
let me see what this fried chicken's hitting on,"
right? Instead of him being like, "Man, they shouldn't have jumped that man by the river. That's crazy."
Right.
He said, "You know what? Keep the niggas from by the river."
Right.
But the other logical explanation, well, and I also say that because he did write the anti-woke law, which essentially was we're not trying to make white kids feel bad in school about being white. In which I don't know if you saw that little boy who was like, they killed a good man.
Yeah.
They don't feel bad.
Right.
He said they. You're
Right.
right. It wasn't you. It was a different version of people who look like you. But the only other thought I can think about is that, like, they're trying to soft launch slavery.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what it feels like.
They trying to make the students in Florida feel like, oh, slavery wasn't that bad. We could do slavery again. Why not? I could learn something, automatic job out of school. You know what I mean? I got a role in society. I can listen to the white man. That's all that is.
Oh, I just thought of something. It's kind of scary.
Talk to me.
I'm thinking about technology, specifically AI.
Yeah.
And I guess the way it relates to learning about things like slavery, for future generations. I'm just afraid of there becoming a case where people start making AI generated images of like slavery, but it looks like, they're happy and frolicking and,
Yeah, they're having a good time.
Right, having a good time.
They're having a good time. You're afraid of the propaganda.
Right, exactly.
And what's the propaganda? When we learned on Saturday when we talking to Maurice, the propaganda has already been here.
Damn.
Like it's already existed. Even when we talk about AI is just a duplicate of things that have already existed.
True.
It's just the bootleg man.
True.
So there's already been propaganda that made slavery seem like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's called Christianity. Oh.
That's what this book is about. I got to get into it.
Pass me that book. Pass me that book. Sweetheart said she worried about the propaganda that sold slavery. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. But your relationship with God is your relationship with God, not with the system of Christianity. But we don't got to talk about that today, or ever. You got any comments, sweetheart?
Let's see. Natalie said, "Not Ron to Satan."
This nigga's the worst.
Right. First of all, we were the ones teaching. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you weren't cultivating crops before we got here. You were struggling.
Right. She also said there would be no agriculture if it wasn't for my Sierra Leonean people.
Come on.
Right.
That's a real hometown. She met the king.
Wow, yeah. That's crazy.
And we both said the king? Yeah,
Yeah.
the king. That's crazy.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. When you meet the king, do you got to do certain things?
That's a good question.
You got to like speak in a certain way? You got to like, can you look the king in the eye?
You got to bow.
Can
I'm sure
you
you
smoke
gotta
a
bow.
blunt with the king?
Probably
I
not.
smoke with the Why not? You think the king got his own blunts? Is that what it is? The king don't pass? Is that what it is?
Royal blunts.
Huh?
Royal blunts.
The royal blunts.
Rochelle said Octavia Butler and many others showed us what the transition to modern day slavery could look like in the parable of the sower and parable of the talents.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Read that?
Okay.
Hold on. I'm still fantasizing about the king though. What would the king have said about the Montgomery? Would he have given an ordinance like, I decree this positive? Like, what is it? I want to be the king. Is the king the most powerful person, or is he a figurehead? Because if I was developing my own little tribe, you know what, sweetheart? Okay, I got something to tell you, and I hope this don't break your heart, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I hope you hear what I'm trying to say. Me and Claudia was talking, right?
Okay.
And she said something to me that's probably the most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard. She said, maybe I shouldn't have used the name. Damn it. This might have been personal. Fuck. Disregard the name I said, y'all. Disregard the name. I was talking to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine said, oh, you know what? This is what I do. Because actually a couple of friends of mine have said this. Talking to a couple of friends of mine, lady friends that is, and which they have said they feel like they need to move away from here. And by here, I mean a big radius of here, like 200, 300, 400 mile radius here, to go to a place where they can feel appreciated and loved. Because the black men here don't want to love black women that don't look like black women. Mm-hmm. And I know what that means. I know there's an umbrella term for what black women means, but I know what they meant when they said black men don't want to be with black women who look like black women.
Yeah.
I was talking about the king. This is why I was talking about the king. So when she said that, sweetheart, I say this respectfully, I thought for a moment, would a harem solve the problem?
Huh?
If there were, let's just say we found, this is going to sound like a cult, but just follow with me for a second. Let's say we found 30 black women who look like black women, struggling to find black men who love them for them. And then we found like, how many Kens were there? Like 6? And we found like 6 black men. And we just created a little internal community where those people could love on each other. Would that solve the problem?
No.
I didn't think so.
Because that's still 5 women to each man. Like, that's...
Yeah.
No, that's not solving the problem. Like, no.
So I thought about the king, because in my little community, I would be like, all right, cool. The women still in charge, though.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm asking. The king could just be the representative of the men, and not necessarily the ruler of the domain. That's right. I write about it. He goes with God. What was we talking about before we talked about the king?
I was reading comments.
Oh, we got some comments? Yeah. Get the comments to get me back on track.
Shy Smith said, do we expect them to teach them the truth on this topic? I can't see that happening. We have to teach our history. Right.
This is true. Mm-hmm. I just I've seen recently the concept of micro school. So just a whole bunch of homeschool parents basically just making a school.
And that's already been surging in popularity in recent years.
What, the micro schools?
Well, homeschooling specifically, but yeah, micro schools would definitely be a thing.
Yeah, I think micro schools will be popping. I've seen that the 1619 Project has their own alternative school, like their after school program. They just finished the summer camp. Mm-hmm. So like there's that. When I was a kid, they used to have the rites of passage, which were like little programs that boys used to have to go through so you can learn about your history and learn about who you are. It's like he's around 13, ends with a ceremony. We need to get back into that. But like, yeah, with the to a point that you made earlier about sweetheart about could this be the tipping point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When you start telling people in school that like, oh, we can think about the suffering of one people, but not the other people. We can hold people accountable across seas, but we can't hold ourselves accountable. There is a whole indoctrination within this public school system to make sure that a certain subject, a certain demographic doesn't feel bad, but we are denying the truth and empowerment to an entirely different demographic. Again, sweetheart, like Lauryn Hill said, the solutions are easy.
Mm-hmm.
We already know the solutions. Do we want to fix them?
Right.
Do niggas know that they could do that though? Like seriously, because the question is always, what if niggas are stupid? Do parents really know that they could like coalesce and create like a school where they could do like?
You know what I think it is?
What's up?
I don't know if it's a matter of them not knowing, rather not having the time or resources or maybe even energy to do that themselves, or you know.
So let's strategize, sweetheart. I think it'd be pretty easy actually.
You know, it's funny. I've kind of been thinking about something like that. Trying to. Well, I'll tell you once we got the show. But,
okay.
Yeah.
But I'm as we still here, and we are a Solution Bank podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna spitball. I had professors that didn't teach every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean like they only taught my class, but like they legit just taught on Tuesday and Thursdays, or they just taught on Monday, Wednesday. I had one professor that taught every other week on Thursday for 4 hours. That was crazy. Mm-hmm. Why can't that system work for like a micro school? Right? Like, I don't know, sweetheart. You got a job. Do you think your job would be, if you told your job, hey, actually, I'm going to work 10 hours for 4 days, and I need to have 1 day off a week so that I can teach school. You think your job would be like, no?
Maybe not. Yeah, they seem to be very hands-off.
Or even if you just put blocks in your schedule.
Yeah, I could do it that way.
That's what I was doing when I was with Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Just put blocks in the schedule. Like, oh, I can't be here between 1 and 3. Sorry.
Right.
You already work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It feel like if you like on that talented 90th shit, if you know what I'm saying, you work the job, but you've always been good at math, you've figured out calculus. It sounds like you need to be teaching calculus like once a week to like all the different age groups in your micro school, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll start with the 1st through 3rd graders on at 8 to 9, and then the 5th graders will come in here at 10, and then we'll get the middle schoolers here at 1, and we'll finish the day up with the high schoolers, all in one day. Mm-hmm. And then we could have like, associate professors. So like you get the lecture on the one day, but on the adjacent day, you get the follow-up, which could either be student-led or community-led. So you're saying we figured all this out in calculus on Tuesday, and on Thursday, we all gonna practice. Wow.
Yeah. Nice with that.
Ain't no, hey, look now, before people get excited, ain't no money in this though.
Well,
we all have to go labor and bring back, or unless we all gonna ask the parents to put in.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if each parent puts in $10 or so,
you can't sustain a life on that though.
Per class.
Because think about what childcare is right now.
Yeah.
Think about that's what that'd be the equitable market, I guess. Somebody just watch your kids, and that's kind of high, and people making a living off of that joint. And I'm also thinking if we took money from the state, what that mean?
feel like it could work.
It could work. It could definitely work. That's not a discouragement. That's just a moment of, I think that's a moment of clarity for my niggas out there though, who wallowing in this fantasy with me. It's like, yeah, I would teach. I'd teach too. I'd be the perfect nigga to teach. Instead of taking my third nap of the day, I could teach a class. I could teach a class. You got any comments? Before we get up out of here, because the construction man is on the way. I can see him.
Yeah. Kendall said good morning. Hey, Kendall.
What's up, Kendall? Gots to get to Denver. We
Yeah.
keep saying it out loud, but it's got to happen.
Natalie said he was laughing 100%. The tribal kings have all the social power. The government officials have the political power. That makes sense.
For real? So you saying the king could call a cipher?
Yeah, she said all of those things. All the things he said.
Hey, the king, all right, man. Okay, the king do the social things, so he over the ceremonies. That mean he got to go to he had the naming ceremonies, at the birthing ceremonies. He had the funerals. He had the 90th birthday parties. What else? What else the king do? So, weddings.
Yeah.
If you get the king to come to your wedding, oh, you must be that nigga for real. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Is the king, I'm just talking to Natalie. Is the king is he like is it like a genetic lineage? Has it been this type of nigga this whole time? Because that's kind of cool when you think about it. The same family running the social thing, not the government thing. You got too much power in the government thing. Yeah. But in the social thing, like, all right, y'all, this year's wedding colors, we turned it back to blue. It's the fame. Oh man, that's kind of cool. What other comments we got? We off biscuits this year, y'all. We not doing it.
Knight Rider said black folks were already here though. And then they also said that's polyamory, which worked in African nations, but black American women don't understand that.
Who's this?
Knight Rider.
All right, Knight Rider. I don't know who that is. You know who that is?
No.
Welcome.
Hey. Good Vibe Tribe says, I want to homeschool. It's funny that I've met homeschool teachers, so I think it'd be too hard to homeschool their own kids. I think building things that aren't there feel insurmountable to folks.
That's true.
Yeah. That's
true. But you know what also felt insurmountable? When that black man was on that pier getting his ass whooped by 90 white folks. That felt insurmountable. But what we do?
You see the lesson?
Huh?
That's the lesson.
That's the lesson. We overcame, damn it. Call on your people.
Right, there's strength in numbers. Kendall said people have daycares in our communities already. We could just build from there.
True.
Yeah. But you do bring up a good point of like outsourcing the educators, like one person doesn't have to do it all.
They don't.
Right.
They don't. It could be a whole collective of people. As long as we are organized, be a whole collection of people that can get it done.
Right. Good Vibe Trap said, I would love to teach math at a micro school. Natalie said yes, and that history will blow your mind.
Oh, what, the king?
Yeah.
Man, all right, we're going to have coffee, Natalie, just to talk about the king. Does he FaceTime? You can't FaceTime the king. That's disrespectful. You can't FaceTime the king.
And then Good Vibe Trap said, inspiration, throw your hat in the air. Bobby Shmurda did it first.
Did it first. I need someone to do a deep dive. See, if the brain trust was already established, these would be the moments that I would want to investigate. I want to do a deep dive on the nigga hat throw. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Keep going. That's it.
If that hat come down, the ancestors have caught it. Your help is on the way.
I love it. You know what time it is, though, sweetheart?
Yeah.
It's time for the burning question for the Roach. What you got for me?
Okay, so is the solution to the soft launch of slavery in Florida creating micro schools or, separating from the public
Ooh,
school system.
bring up the little web that had all the roles on it.
Okay.
Let's figure it out.
All right.
Because it's not one thing, right?
What? No.
Right. So, okay. So, yeah, let's do. Who are we on that? Are we the Dreamers? The Weavers?
Oh, Knight Rider. Knight Rider said it's Kenny.
Kenny! Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. What's up, Kenny? All right. Let's bring it up. Okay. Okay. The question is the solution to the Florida laws, micro schools?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one way to do it. Absolutely. I think
Okay.
that's one way to do it. And in those micro schools, we would have to have all these individuals a part of that solution. Let's go one by one. Let's see what happens.
All right. So we got weavers.
Weavers. Weavers are the people who take the parts and stitch them together.
Yeah.
I think we could be a weaver. I'm definitely weaving in the real world. Those are like your producers. So if you're in the production world, if you're in the people who like coordinate, do communication, and do project management, that could be a very good role for you, the weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think in this situation, our two parts would be, do we all still live in the same neighborhood? Because location could be an issue.
No, see, we
And
could
availability could be an issue. As long as we're
Oh.
not in the same neighborhoods.
No, we could be, but we could also have like online programs too. Right, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
okay. Experimenters.
Experimenters. So I'm pretty sure. So the 1619 school right now, they had their own summer camp and school. I believe the reason why I'm getting micro sites, because I think some people are experimenting with micro schools already, which is a collection of home schools.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I think you and I, who we are to each other, that we have to be very aware or empathetic towards those experiments.
Right.
Right? Because it'd be the reason why I feel like we're having a hard time even trying to put the structure together is because we were indoctrinated for 13 years to follow this 17 years to follow this structure of education.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people who break out against it, let's not call them dumb. Okay, let's not call them stupid. Let's see what the experiment is. Let's see how it works out. And education is such a hard thing to experiment because, like, yeah, your micro site, yeah, you might be bad at teaching your micro school calculus on year one, but like you don't see impact in a student until 4 years. So like, yeah, your second year might be dynamic. That's why like they don't give a. I say this very lightly, but they don't give a fuck about first year teachers. Like you're supposed to be failing. You're supposed to suck at it so that you can get better at it later. Because your impact on a student is not really impacted for another 4 years. Mm-hmm. So your micro school could fail today. What's his name? Dr. Umar Johnson's school could fail tomorrow, but that don't mean that he failed. A lot of things at play here. What's next?
Frontline responders.
I think those are people doing homeschooling now. I think those are the people who have already divorced themselves from a formal school system. What's next?
Okay. I'm also thinking it's the people who. Well, okay.
And also people in like I guess policy maybe.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Visionaries.
That's us.
Yeah. Builders.
That's the people who listening. That's the Wake and Bake with BeMo nights.
Caregivers.
Ooh, I think those are the teachers.
And also maybe even the parents.
And the parents.
Yeah.
That's right. And the community.
Right.
Because it's gonna take I just had in my mind like when you bring an F home from school, it's like embarrassing and your mother upset.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine if you failed community like history? Right. Like if you got a D in community history and you don't like, and the community history is like who live at 601 President Street, mm-hmm. and we gotta walk by Miss Johnson's house every day, mm-hmm. and you don't know who that is. And so you be so ashamed. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I couldn't look it up. I could have just talked to her. She on the porch every day.
Yeah.
And now, and she thought, let me see a history test, BeMo. Oh, you don't know who lived here, huh? Well, it's so embarrassing. Oh my God, what's next? Oh my God.
Disruptors.
Go ahead. Disruptors. Yeah, I think these are also the people who are doing the microsites. Those are your 1619 projects. Those are people who are daring. I think like disrupting and visionaries are the same thing. Is that not the same thing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. We might have to edit this thing right here. There's a lot of roles. Keep going.
Healers.
So when I tell you something that's been replaying in my head that I'm a little ashamed of.
What's up?
So we saw when Amber Rose and Jocelyn got to fighting in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that they kicked them both out of school?
Oh, I didn't know they kicked both of them out.
Yeah, they kicked Jocelyn out. And I was actually really sad.
Yeah.
Because like, although her words were violent, the classroom is where that happens. The classroom is where you can be wrong. Mm-hmm. She ain't throw no hands. She ain't get up and scrap with that girl.
Right.
The Amber Rose came up and hit her, and now she get kicked out of school. And so I watched the segment where they brought Jocelyn to talk to the dean and I think the president of the school, and they put her out. It was so fucking sad. Yeah. And it was sad because I've seen that so many times in middle school and in high school where like me or people who look like me simply misunderstood and now have to suffer such terrible long-term consequences for those things. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And that was at, I forgot what, that was at an HBCU. And even though they was black, I could still recognize that putting that girl out of school was wrong. That was wrong. Yeah. It was wrong. Mm-hmm. Probation, suspension, right. Call her mama. Like, there are so many things you could have done before put her out of school. And now every time I see Jocelyn act out, I'm thinking, damn, that girl should be in school. That's all I can think about. And I know she probably doing cocaine, you know what I'm saying? She a little ratchet herself, but like, who knows what that class would have taught her? That girl should have been in school. Right. Those are the healers. The healers are the people who can handle those situations because our students aren't perfect. And merging these two situations, we're going to have some bump roads. You know what I mean? We have been indoctrinated in the school to prison pipeline system of marginalization and oppression when they telling us that you can learn trades from slavery.
That's insane.
Were you with me that night at 301 Icons party when that dude who just got out of jail wandered into the party?
Yeah. Or
liberated bodies look scary when you don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. That nigga was buff as fuck. His clothes was tattered. You know what I mean? And he was moving very wildly. Yeah. But after watching him for 10 minutes, I was like, this is just a liberated body. Mm-hmm. He don't know what to do. I just want to flail around because I couldn't flail around before. Right. That's what our students are going to be like. They're going to be flailing. Mm-hmm. And we can't punish them.
We got storytellers. I feel like those are like the historians or, you know.
And the curriculum writers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then guides.
Well, come on. That's the whole system.
Right.
That's the whole system.
Everybody, yeah.
Where do the students go, though? Because the students got a role in this, too. As I'm thinking about you failing community history. What is the student's role?
Disruptors.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very true. Because you know what we'll yield? Especially the first generation. We're going to yield mindsets that are going to be scary to us. Mm-hmm. Right. We're going to yield more free people, and we're captive. Right. And it's going to look scary to us. Captivated bodies look strange. Mm-hmm. They're gonna be disrupting us.
Right.
Man, why are you still doing that? Doing what?
That's crazy.
You still wearing chains? I mean, they look good. Do they? Okay. Okay. Nigga, y'all still wearing fast fashion? Huh? Huh. Interesting. Y'all still using these labels? Crazy. That's wild. Y'all haven't, as Ben Crump showed us, y'all haven't sued the CIA yet? Why? Why not? Why was you waiting on? You scared? And as we told Gen X, y'all still fucking with R. Kelly? We got any comments, sweethearts? We can get up out of here. That was our burning question for the Roach. To answer your, so I hope we answered the question. You can turn it down now.
Okay. Yeah. Good Vibe Tribe said the light bulb going off in your head was priceless. Kenny or Knight Rider said it's each one teach one. It's not that difficult. Community gatherings, lectures, news and info outlets, online Zoom classes.
You said that's the solution?
Yeah.
It's not that difficult? It might be a little hard. It might be a little tough. Especially separating from a system. Like separating from something that we were indoctrinated to think that was the way it goes.
Right.
I mean, that's niggas' favorite fallacy right there. Is like, we can't change it. It's always been this way.
Right.
What else we got?
Good Vibe Tribe said the youth are also the visionaries.
Oh,
True.
the visionaries. True.
And then Rochelle said, again, another pathway that Octavia Butler showed us
They
in
did
those
have
two
micro
books.
schools in Parable of the Sower. They sure did. Main character was a teacher. They sure did. Damn, Octavia. Hey, let me tell you something. Octavia wrote the shit out that book. Man, I wish these niggas were still alive. Good Lord. Man, I wish her and Toni Morrison was alive. When I was reading Song of Solomon, even when I was reading Parable of the Sower, there were times where I wanted to call them and be like, call them out their name. I don't even want to, bitch, you late this. Oh, is she good? You motherfucker. Good Lord. How dare you write something this well? How I'm supposed to write a new Blueprint newsletter and Toni Morrison write this well? How I'm gonna catch up to this? I can't. Oh my God. It's like me on Photoshop last night. It's just, but in trying to write a sentence. Oh my goodness. What else we got?
Kendall said, it's definitely going to be hard. We're going to be met with resistance once word gets out. Exactly.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging the resistance. I think there's actually power in recognizing that and then applying that as part of our strategy. There's nothing wrong. Yeah, it's going to be a little difficult. I think it'll be harder than nuclear fission, but you know, I figured that out already. So whatever. It's not that tough.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little dangerous, but not dangerous in that sense, but more so like
it might be dangerous.
Yeah, we're doing a revolutionary thing.
Cause like, can you just is it against the law to homeschool? Can you just not send your kids to school?
I mean, I think you have to like register or something with, is it the state? I don't really know how that works, but yeah.
You know what I just learned something. We got any more comments before I tell you what I learned, and then we gotta go.
Rochelle said, that being said, the entire system had to crumble first. And then
it did.
Good Vibe Chart said, I love that. So yeah. You say you learned.
I just learned something. So I had heard these things when I was in school, and I thought they were something else. But I just learned, and forgive my ignorance, but there were people who got off the boat and immediately ran. Did you know that?
No.
There were people who were never enslaved.
Wow.
They're called Moors. I didn't know that's what the Moors were.
Yeah.
People who got off the boat didn't run and who didn't become slaves. And I was thinking about, like, who was the first person to rescue a nigga from slavery? And I thought it might have been an enslaved person, but it wasn't. Ain't that crazy? They lived independently and freely away from white people. And we are still discovering relics of Moor communities. They live completely off the grid in this country. Drake Domaniacs. Go listen to Drake Domaniacs by Michael Harriot. He got an O in his name. I even want to call him Harry O. That's not his name. All right, y'all. We will appreciate y'all watching. Make sure y'all check us out on Thursday. We'll have our Paul Robeson Negro of the Week. We do have our first. We're going to put them all in one group. Okay, it'll be the first Paul Robeson Negro movement of the week. If they win the Negro of the Week, we'll throw our Paul Robeson Negro of the Week in from last week because we missed on Thursday. We apologize for that. If you want to catch the instant replay, make sure you go to YouTube right now. Listen and check us out on wherever you listen to your podcast, which is your Spotify's and your Apple Music. We appreciate y'all for listening. We're going to leave y'all with Detroit Rivers Black Boy Joy, which is my jam at this point. We'll see y'all on Thursday for more. Wake and make we be more, yeah. I tried to sing it soft because my throat dry.
Yeah, my mouth dry as hell right now.
Hold on tight, don't let this feeling slip away. Your city, yeah, happy feelings. Breaking Beverly and Maze, don't be amazed. Find yourself, learn your joys and pains. Live your voice and sing. The sounds of your heart, don't you worry about a thing. And don't forget your lyrics. This is a reminder of joy every time you hear it. Just your birthright is joy. Smile, you can wear it contagious once you share it. Let love loose, don't fear it. Just that black boy joy.
Black boy joy up on your brain. Let this black boy joy give you some game. Black boy joy get up again. And black boy joy through all the pain. And black boy joy say it again. One more time, get this black boy joy up on your brain. Let this black boy joy give you some game. Black boy joy get up again. And black boy joy through all the pain. And black boy joy say it again. Where I was raised, black boys was being destroyed. I grew up a black boy, they had stole my joy. Nobody put on my neck, so I do it for Floyd. Do it for Tamir Rice and for the underemployed. For the ones that gave back, communicated, deployed. I wanna give you a rope so that you can aboard. I wanna give you a hope so that you can avoid having to be a black man without no black boy joy. So get this black boy joy up on your brain. Let this black boy joy give you some game. Black boy joy get up again. And black boy joy through all the pain. And black boy joy say it again. One more time, get this black boy joy up on your brain. Let this black boy joy give you some game. Black boy joy get up again. And black boy joy through all the pain. And black boy joy say it again. For us, it's easier to go to jail than to go to college. Rather us be entertainers than be getting knowledge. They funded our own genocide. The word is power. Killing niggas in every song. I think it's coward. Easier to act tough when you in doubt because the world incriminates us. Cause we in doubt. Are we afraid of our own kind? And it's really wild. I think they got us backwards, but I figured out it's easier to fit in than it is to stand out. So I'm black boy joy when I'm cruising around. And I'm black boy joy fresh hitting the town. And I'm black boy joy dancing cleaning the house. And I'm black boy joy when I go for a hike. Been black boy joy since I was riding a bike. My son black boy joy and that's crazy to me. I was miserable growing up, I really hated it, G. But the world is much bigger than I was able to see. So get this black boy joy up on your brain. Let this black boy joy give you some game. Black boy joy get up again. And black boy joy through all the pain. And black boy joy say it again. One more time, get this black boy joy up on your brain. Let this black boy joy give you some game. Black boy joy get up again. And black boy joy through all the pain. And black boy joy say it again. Smile.